In this video, we are going to look at some more numerical problems from vectors. So the first question, find a vector which is perpendicular to the vectors given below. Alright, so this is vector A which is given and another vector B is given. So there are two vectors given to you and you're being asked to find a vector which is perpendicular to both of these two given vectors. So how will you do it? Now what the question is asking you here is to simply find the cross product between these two vectors. So you'll find A cross B to solve this particular question, because we know whenever you find the cross product between two vectors, which is A cross B is altogether a new vector which of course is perpendicular to both of these given vectors. Alright, so therefore A cross B will give you a vector which is perpendicular to both of these two given vectors. This very question can also be given in, one extra thing might be added to this question. It could be like find a unit vector which is perpendicular to both of these given vectors. So now the additional thing is you need to find a unit vector which is perpendicular to both of these vectors. So what will you do is, again you will find the cross product between these two vectors, which will give you a vector which is perpendicular to both A and B. So A cross B is that vector. But you need to find a unit vector. So what will be the unit vector which is perpendicular to both of these? Unit vector perpendicular to both of these will be, let me call that A cap is the unit vector that we are required to find. Okay, so A cap will be, according to the definition of unit vector, the vector itself, the vector in here which is perpendicular to both of these is A cross B. So the vector itself, which is A cross B, divided by the magnitude of A cross B, will give you the unit vector which is perpendicular to both A and B. You can try doing that also. First of all, find the unit vector which is perpendicular to both A and B, that is, you will find A cross B. Then after, also find the unit vector which is perpendicular to both A and B, that is the vector A cross B divided by its magnitude. Try doing this class 11, and any problem you have, you can let me know. Okay, so with that, let us move to the next question, that is find the angle between the vectors given below. So a vector A is given and another vector B is given. Okay, only this much is given, and what we need to do is we need to find the angle between these two vectors. So how do you proceed? In order to find the angle between the two vectors given, what we do is we find the dot product. A dot B, we know A dot B is magnitude of A, magnitude of B cos theta. So vector A is given, vector B is given, okay, both A and B are given, so I can find the left hand side. So what I'll find is I find the dot product between these two vectors, I will get a scalar, so that is my left hand side complete. Then after, I'll find the magnitude of A. So I find the magnitude of A this way, okay, because the magnitude of a 3D vector is given by this, square root of x squared plus y squared plus z squared. So I can find the magnitude of vector A. Likewise, I can find the magnitude of vector B. Okay, so once I find magnitude of A, magnitude of B, I can find cos theta. Cos theta will be A dot B, the left hand side that I've already calculated, divided by magnitude of A into magnitude of B. This will give me some number. Let me call that number x. So this right hand side will be some number. So therefore, theta will be cos inverse of that number. You can use your scientific calculators to calculate this angle theta, or that is to calculate cos inverse of x, which will give us the angle between the two vectors A and B. This question can also be asked in another form, like they might give you a force, they might give you a displacement, and the question may be like find the angle between the force and the displacement. So you will do exactly the same thing. You will calculate F dot D, which of course is work done, don't forget. Okay, you will calculate the magnitude of the force, you will calculate the magnitude of the displacement, and thereby find theta, which is the angle between the force and the displacement. Now I further want to talk about one last thing about cross product, which is the cross product between two vectors also gives us the area of a parallelogram. So to say, if we have two vectors A and B, incline at an angle theta with respect to each other and forming this parallelogram, then the cross product between these two vectors gives us the area of this parallelogram. That is how much surface this particular parallelogram is covering. Now, before we check how the cross product gives us the area of this parallelogram, let us look at the formula to calculate the area of a parallelogram. Now, you must be familiar with this. The area of the parallelogram is given by base multiplied by the height of the parallelogram. Now, if this is b and this is theta, then this height comes out to be b sine theta. So, the area of the parallelogram thereby is given by a into b sine theta, which is ab sine theta. Now, we know the cross product between two vectors a cross b is ab sine theta. So, we see that the cross product gives us the area of a parallelogram. Therefore, you might get a question like this. Find the area of a parallelogram whose two sides are given by a, which is this much, and b, which is this much. Alright. So, what you will do in here is, you will find the cross product between these two vectors. So, you will find a cross b. You will find a cross b. You will do the calculation. Alright. And you will get a vector. Say, for example, a cross b comes out to be some number xi cap plus yj cap plus z k cap. Of course, you'll get it in terms of this. Alright. So, a cross b is this much. But you need to find the area of the parallelogram. Area is a scalar quantity. You need to get a number, not a vector. So, what will you do? The area of the parallelogram will be given by the magnitude of this vector, which is equal to square root of x squared plus y squared plus z squared. So remember, you need to do all of these numericals that I have discussed about in this particular video. Alright, so if you get a question like this, you'll find a cross b and you'll find the magnitude of that particular vector, which will give you the area of the parallelogram.